This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them East.
And we're back, the onside kick after Super Bowl Sunday. And Mark, today's a special day. You know why today. I don't have to tell you.
It's because we're both wearing red.
Why today's a special day. We are both wearing red, but It's our birthday. It is the onside kick's birthday. This is our anniversary podcast. This is where it all started. It started the what was it, Monday or Tuesday after the Super Bowl in 2011, or was that 2012? Whatever. The second time the Giants beat the Patriots, that's where the onside kick started. So it's our birthday, our anniversary here. A fun podcast. We got a jam-packed show looking at the Patriots and Colts after the Josh McDaniels decision just fell into our laps moments before we were going to record. We're going to look at Kirk Cousins because I got to talk a little bit about it. You have yet to give your opinions on Kirk Cousins, so we're going to dive into what teams he could go to, what's the best chance for Kirk Cousins to win and sign, and then we're going to look at Matt Patricia being the head coach of the Detroit Lions. But before we get into everything, and I welcome in Christian, let's go through some housekeeping. Number one, if you want to be like Christian, who's going to join us in 2 seconds, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. It's how you help and support the channel to make sure we can do what we do each and every day. Number two, you want to get yourself an MVP t-shirt. That is down below in the description with the instructions on how to do that. Third, go ahead and bookmark Most Valuable Podcast so you have everything at your fingertips. And last but not least, if you're on iTunes, you listen to Apple Podcasts, have an iTunes account, make sure to go give the onside kick a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to us. And now I get to welcome in Christian. How are you doing today, buddy?
Doing good. Excited to be on, especially with this McDaniels news. And yeah, I'm excited.
And this fell right into our laps. And I'm just going to start it right away. We're going to talk about what it means for the Patriots, what it means for the Colts. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Christian, to start. Josh McDaniels no longer going to the Colts. He is staying with the New England Patriots. We'll start with the Patriots. What does this mean for New England?
Well, I mean, I think that ensures him that eventually, some point down the road, that he will get the head coaching job. We don't know how long with Bill Belichick coming back and Tom Brady. I mean, we saw that report coming out before the Super Bowl, how there's a rift there. We don't know how true that is, but I think at some point down the line, this ensures him that he will be the head coach.
This is interesting for me, partly because I think that it has to say something. There's a lot being said here by Josh McDaniels doing this. There's got to be something going on behind the doors. I mean, sure, you can just say, well, I mean, I got the promise that eventually I'm going to be the head coach. That's great. That's wonderful. That could be today. That could be tomorrow. That could be in 10 years. You don't really know. I mean, Bill Belichick, he's 65 years old. He's up there in age. But at the same time, McDaniels, he's 41. So does he want to wait 5 years for his chance, his second chance? So I love that you bring it up, Christian, because I was not a firm believer in there's this huge rift within the Patriots organization when that first article came out. But at the same time, I did sit there and say, I don't want to completely throw it out right off the bat, because the guy who wrote it is the same guy who claimed that there was a rift within the 49ers organization and that John Harbaugh would be gone. And I think that at least made me say, well, I'm at least willing to think maybe there's something. And I do think that you see something like this, and Josh McDaniels has to at the very least feel confident that he will get the head coaching job sooner rather than later. I mean, he has to, because he doesn't want to sit around for 5 or 10 years, right?
Well, and that's my whole thinking of as soon as this happened, I thought back to, I can't remember who said it. It might have been Al Michaels. It was somebody during the Super Bowl broadcast or after the Super Bowl broadcast on the numerous post shows that you see. They said if Josh McDaniels was going to stay, because the first question after the Patriots lost was not just the why didn't Malcolm Butler start, but the question was, neither of these two coaches, Patricia and McDaniels, have officially been hired by their teams. Do they end up staying? What will get them to stay? And the one thing that they said was with McDaniels, if he is promised to be Bill Belichick's successor, and they were like, well, that's probably not going to happen. He's going to move on. So to me, to hear that Josh McDaniels is going to stay with New England, I know they're not going to report it because they don't want that news getting out. But Christian, I'm going to throw it to you. I have to believe in my head, and of course it's all speculation, but I have to believe that Robert Kraft said to McDaniels, you know what? If you want it, fine. You are going to be the successor after Belichick goes ahead and hangs it up in New England.
Well, see, I mean, I can sort of believe that, and the reason why is because the report that we brought up, and it mentioned that the main rift, that if there was one, it was between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick regarding the Jimmy G trade. Mm-hmm. That, I mean, Robert Kraft embraced Tom Brady in practice, and Tom Brady just seemed joyful and more happy than he's been in weeks. So, I mean, maybe he did give him like, hey, Bill Belichick's coming back next season, but after that, Tom Brady, both of them are gone. You come back with a clean slate. You pick your own offensive coordinators, and this is going to be your job. So I could kind of see it, but, I mean, is it kind of down the line and tinfoil hat? Possibly. But could it happen? I can still see it happening.
The thing on the other side, Mark, I know you said this, was here's the devil's advocate side. How long is Tom Brady going to be there? Like, yep. I'm assuming Tom Brady is going to come back because I don't think Tom Brady is going to reverse Jordan or he's not going to reverse Jordan, reverse Elway, where they won a championship, walked off, we never saw him again. Well, Jordan we did. But walk off, we never saw him again.
We
hint,
pretend
hint,
we
wink,
didn't
wink,
see
nudge,
Jordan.
nudge.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Brady is going to go the route of Brett Favre, where, look at Brett Favre. I know he didn't get to a Super Bowl, but that first year with the Vikings got pretty damn close, broke himself, and then we saw the second season of, like, that was the one where we get it was a full-page paper here in Chicago of just Urlacher just standing over Brett Favre in the outdoor stadium of TCF Bank Stadium where the Golden Gophers play because he just got massacred in that week 17 or 16 game that year. You don't know how long Tom's going to be there. You don't know how long Bill's going to stick around because I would think Tom would be done before Bill would be done. And like Christian said, they don't have Jimmy G anymore. So it's like, what are you really getting? Are you getting this brand new Porsche, or it's like, hey, I got this used car that's been through a lot. It used to be really freaking good, but here you go, I guess. You'll see how it'll run.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because, like I said, to me, at the very least, Josh McDaniels has to believe something's going to go his way. Whether it's just everything is great and Bill Belichick is just tired and he said, I only got one more year. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe that's what happened, or Kraft just led him to believe that's something that has happened. But to me, it doesn't make sense because, okay, you're here. You've got Tom Brady. Bill Belichick's in front of you. You want Bill Belichick gone so you can take over with Tom Brady. You can be the head coach that wins a Super Bowl because Tom Brady's there. But the problem is Tom Brady's old. And I'm not saying he fell off a cliff. We all know he did not fall off a cliff. He just threw 500 yards in the Super Bowl. He's a damn good quarterback.
Which, according to Max Kellerman, now we have to wait until the beginning of next season to see if the cliff is coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. We have to wait until then, and then week 1, we got to wait till week 2 to see if that cliff is there yet. But, you know, you only have a finite number of years left of Tom Brady, whether it's because he falls off a cliff or whether it's just because he gets bored and says, I really want to go like Jordan and play some baseball right now. You know, you don't know what it's going to be. Eventually,
I believe he was
retire.
A catcher too. Tom Brady used to be a catcher.
He was one of those guys who got drafted.
Yeah, like late rounds, I believe.
Yeah. Now, eventually, Tom Brady's going to not be there. For Josh McDaniels, he wants to be head coaching Tom Brady. He doesn't want to be head coaching whoever they pick up off the street. Hold on one second.
Apparently not Andrew Luck.
Yeah, well, that was my point. Is he had an opportunity to go be the head coach for Andrew Luck. And I know there's more involved with the Colts, and they're nowhere near a complete team right now. But I will take Andrew Luck over anybody you get in the draft or any free agent that you pick up that's willing to sit behind Tom Brady for 2 or 3 years. So that's why I think at the very least, Josh McDaniels believes the end is coming sooner rather than later.
And I'm going to throw it to you, Christian. I just want to interject with this, bringing the Colts into it a little bit because of that. What if a part of it, because I'm looking at an article here on ESPN by Mike Reese, where he says the main three reasons that went into McDaniels' decision, one is the speculation about Bill Belichick's tenure. How long is he going to be around? And there have been reports that Kraft and Bill have an arrangement of, this is when I'm going to be done. Like Bill has told Robert, this is when. We don't know if that's true, but apparently people have said that. Number two is his family. He likes the stability of having his family, not uprooting them and moving them like they did from Denver to St. Louis in 3 years, and then going back to New England. This would be another move. And then the last one is just his fondness of the Patriots organization and everything that he has there, the relationships that he's built with that organization. Mm-hmm. But bringing the Colts into it, the thing that I want to ask you, Christian, is could another reason be because apparently he was unsure about it after he interviewed with the Colts? Could it also be, hey, you know what? I don't think Jim Irsay is really 100% on this Chris Ballard guy that they got there. And if he's hiring me and then he gets the boot, that means I'm going to get the boot too, and then I don't have a job. Do you think that played into it as well?
I mean, it definitely could, because, I mean, if you look at Jim Irsay's track history, he isn't really the most stable owner there is. I mean, I think it was earlier this season where he said Andrew Luck's injury is just all in his head to begin with. So, I mean, there's going to be already there's tension there between your quarterback who touches the ball on literally every single play and the owner who runs everything from, like how you said, the GM to the head coach. So, I mean, if I was Josh McDaniels, I would definitely look at that too, which is why a part of why I would be wary. And one thing, it is the family. I mean, a lot of times you just look at these guys, oh, trade, just move. But I mean, like, these guys are people too. Like, they have their families and things. So I get that part, but I would definitely lean more towards the side of Jim Irsay and his handling of things.
Here's another thing I want to ask you. I'm coming right back to you, Christian. This is getting into the Super Bowl. We're talking about Tom Brady and everything. If you had to put a number on it, how long do you think both Brady and Belichick are there, especially with what has happened? We were talking before the podcast about the Super Bowl, and because they lost to Philadelphia, how they did, especially with the Bill Belichick, I'm going to bench Malcolm Butler 17 minutes before the Super Bowl. How long do you think, if you're looking into your crystal ball, that both of those guys stay with New England?
I say 1 to 2. 1 to 2 years. I mean, and that's just being realistic. I mean, if looking at Tom Brady, the oldest to ever win MVP as a quarterback, the things that he's doing at his age are really remarkable. I mean, you could really account that to his TB12 method, or actually just finding the fountain of youth and drinking all that water that he does a day.
Can't get sunburned if you drink that much water.
Sure, do you see his neck?
Yeah, seriously. But no, I mean, I think it's 1 to 2 years. I mean, Bill Belichick's getting older. He understands that there's a timetable on these things, and he sees that window closing, hence the Jimmy G drama and all that. But yeah, 1 to 2. It can't. The wheels are showing a lot of tread on that bus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true. After a while, you just can't necessarily keep going. I mean, Tom Brady himself, he can't keep going forever, as much as he wants to say, as much as we joke about it, as much as Sean here at MVP hopes that Tom Brady lives forever. Eventually, he's going to want to do something else or want to just stop. And it's totally possible that if they had won the Super Bowl, maybe this would have been it. So maybe Tom Brady waits till he wins yet another Super Bowl, or waits till he just breaks, or until Bill Belichick leaves. Who knows what it might be. But there really can't be that many more years left. I mean, I would be surprised if anyone thinks they've got more than 5 years left. Mm-hmm. That would make Bill Belichick 70 years old. That would make Tom Brady, 46 then? Or no, he's 40 right now, so he'll be 45, if I'm remembering right. But so I don't think anyone would say more than 5 years. So you just start to peel it back, like, okay, could they do 4 years? Could they do 3 years? Could they do 2 years? And to me, I still harp back on Josh McDaniels has to believe that it's going to be 3 years or less for probably Tom Brady, and probably less than that for Bill Belichick.
Well, and that's a big thing. This is Ricky tinfoil hat speculation, however you want to look at it. In order for him to stay, kind of like you said, I believe Robert Kraft had to have said, you are taking over after Bill, and 2, it has to be relatively quickly. Because the whole thing also, and this is me kind of looking into it, not being in the situation, but looking at it, is that article that we referenced earlier that everyone knows about now, there had been said that there's a rift between Kraft and Belichick. And I know Sean is sitting there screaming at his computer screen that it's all a lie and don't believe it. However, let's look at it. Let's just say for the sake of argument, it's true. Robert Kraft to me, and this is how I had it not explained, but this is how I heard, I think it was Colin Cowherd say it, and it made sense. Bill Belichick is not, to me, not an emotional guy. He's a guy that, like, look at the Malcolm Butler thing.
Emotions.
Yeah, and he separates himself. So in case he needs to trade you to a Cleveland, needs to get rid of you, he can do that without having any connection to you at all. Look at the Malcolm Butler thing. It wasn't anything emotional in that. It was blatantly, these are the rules. You broke the rules. I'm sticking to the rules. That's what Bill Belichick is. He's a very black and white guy, doesn't go into huge emotions. Even in his interviews, he gives you dry material. Robert Kraft is the complete opposite. He is very emotional. He's a guy that in his, like, even the way he carries himself, you can tell emotions dictate decisions. Not maybe business side, but maybe. And in this case, he has a relationship with Tom Brady where Bill doesn't see Tom Brady as a friend. Robert Kraft kind of does see Tom Brady as, he's my buddy. So I wouldn't be surprised that Robert Kraft said, hey, we got to get rid of Jimmy so that I can protect my boy Tom Brady. And I wouldn't be surprised if he said to McDaniels, hey, I'll sweeten the deal for you. You can be the successor when Belichick's gone. And Bill Belichick doesn't know anything about this. If Bill Belichick doesn't know anything about what is said between Kraft and McDaniels that magically got McDaniels to stay in New England.
I don't think anyone is doubting that McDaniels has been promised or at least suggested that he is going to be the successor. No one's going to doubt that. The thing is just that alone probably shouldn't be enough. Unless McDaniels is sitting there being like, man, I sit in a room with this Bill Belichick guy and he's going to keel over any day now. You know, I'm not saying that's happening. Well, I'm just saying he's got to believe something or have been told something.
I'll ask you this. Just looking at this alone, does this validate even in the slightest what we had heard in that report that there is a rift between Kraft and Belichick?
It can't validate it because there's nothing here.
Bring a little truth to it.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
It can't validate it because there's nothing here that says
it's not
for
proven
sure.
True, yeah.
But it's at least adding smoke to the fire. You know, we at least are seeing something that suggests, you know, hey, maybe there is something there. There's at least a second to rethink it and say maybe something is here. Not saying that for sure. I'm sitting there going completely in and say, yep, everything is 100% factual. But I'm at least willing to say, you know, if I was sitting at 25%, maybe I'm sitting at 30 now or 40.
What do you think, Christian?
See, one thing I was kind of thinking about just as you guys were talking is I'm going to borrow Ricky's, you know, kind of tinfoil hat here, is one of the stipulations that Josh McDaniels had with Robert Kraft for him coming back is I want 1 year with Brady. I want 1 year with my offense. I want to see what I can do with, in my mind, the greatest quarterback who's ever played. You know, maybe kind of, okay, Bill, we kind of seen your system. We know week to week, you know, we're on to yada, yada. But maybe that fresh of breath air and everything in the organization would be something good. And maybe that's something that he had wanted.
I can kind of see it only because, so ESPN, before we started recording, I said the thing, oh, shocking news. Bill Belichick is reported to be the head coach for the Patriots at least through 2018. Does that mean, and Mark, I'll throw it to you, does that mean then could 2018, let's just start it right now, could 2018 be the last year for Bill Belichick? And then McDaniels gets his year with Tom Brady to work with his offense, his guy, his crew, and that also is a seamless transition between Belichick to a guy that the Patriots trust.
It's possible. Sure. I mean, it's totally possible. I mean, Bill Belichick's going to be 66 at the start of the season. You know, it's very possible that maybe that is the end, and maybe he said, hey, I don't want to be coaching at 67 years old. So maybe they know that already, and maybe that will work. But on the flip side of it, I want to point out that we're saying, will this be the end? And then there's a year for Tom Brady. The dangerous thing is there's no guarantees that Tom Brady's going to stick around.
True.
You know, there's no guarantees that he's going to be healthy enough to do so. And I know TB12 method and all that, but, you know, eventually the man will stop. I just think it's a risky thing for McDaniels to do, to hang his hat on. I think all of this will work out.
You know what I find coincidentally, not funny, but coincidentally interesting? Ironic could be a good word too, is one of the big things I heard after the Super Bowl from numerous people was, I think it was even one of the it was either Harbaugh or somebody on Football Night in America, that crew that did the pre and post game because NBC had the Super Bowl. It might have been, I can't even think. It doesn't matter. One of them said that in order to win this game, he said, I put it at 8. 8 quarterback hits on Brady, not sacks, just hits. And they got 9 in that game in order to beat Brady. I kind of find it ironic that could next year be the end of Tom Brady, a la we've already seen this with a Brett Favre, a quarterback who, legend quarterback, I'll say, not the GOAT, but legend quarterback, had one of his great seasons at the age of 40 or post 40 with Favre.
Yeah.
Gets destroyed. I mean,
Favre had a better year than Tom Brady did.
Brady didn't get destroyed. The only reason Brett Favre didn't win that Heisman, by the way, was because a certain man called Peyton Manning, who won the Super Bowl, won that MVP. Just want to throw that out there. But 2, both of them, yes, Favre's was really worse, but both of them got hit a lot in their last playoff game, which were both losses. So, not saying that it's exactly going to happen because history rewrites itself, but I kind of would find it ironic if Tom Brady, after 40, his career ends similarly to Brett Favre in the same fashion. Gets hit a lot in his last game, which is a loss, comes back for one more year, and is just like, I can't do it. I got to hang it up. I mean, I don't expect Tom to do that because he's way more competitive than Brett Favre is. Brett Favre was I do it because I love playing the game and I have fun doing it, where Tom Brady, yeah, he might have fun, but it's all about the competitive nature for Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Tom Brady has fun. I'm convinced that Tom Brady just wants to win.
Yeah.
No, is it possible? Yeah, I think it's reading a little into it, because just a few years ago when the Broncos with Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, it's because Tom Brady got hit a lot. It could have happened then, I guess, too. I mean, he gets hit a lot because people know the only way to beat Tom Brady is to hit him. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure. Would it be a coincidence? Yeah, okay. I'll give you that, Ricky, because it's our birthday. It's our anniversary.
But now let's flip the script. And just to end this, we talked about the Patriots because obviously he's coming back to New England. What does this mean for the Colts? And kind of to set this up, Christian, I'm going to come to you first, but just to go through a little bit of a Twitter conversation that I had before the podcast. So I saw a tweet waiting for Mark to get here tonight, and it was from Ross Tucker from NFL Network, and he said, 1, this is another reason why NFL rule that you can't hire a Super Bowl coach until after game is stupid. Number 2, I like and respect Josh, but hard not to see that this is hard to see as being very unprofessional on his part. So I go ahead, I quote this, or I retweet it, and we get Twitter follower of mine, Shane O'Mac. Shane Reimer, correct me, Shane, if you're listening. He says, this pisses me off. And I go, well, I can see, number 1, I agree with. This is a stupid rule. Like, the Colts got screwed over basically because the Patriots got all the way to the Super Bowl. However, Josh McDaniels has every right to back out of it, although I could see how some people think it's unprofessional. where Shane replies, and this could lead him, being McDaniels, having a hard time finding another NFL head coaching job with all the other 31 franchises. And I go, I think Kraft promised the Pats job after Bill leaves to him, which means he would not have to worry about that. So, point being, the Colts, it's an open job. They've got now to find somebody, because whether you're liking this decision by Josh McDaniels or you absolutely hate it, they need to find someone now to fill the job. Christian, I'm going to come to you. If you are Chris Ballard, I'm putting big shoes for you to fill. Who's your emergency plan? Who are you immediately calling now that Josh McDaniels is staying in New England?
I mean, I would, pardon me, I would immediately call DiFilippo from Philadelphia, coming off that Super Bowl win. I mean, make sure you hire him if that's who you do go with this time. Other than that, I mean, like how we were talking, I think it was the Seattle's coordinator, Ravel. I would go for him, but I mean, I understand where the frustration is coming from Indianapolis side, because they had a deal in place, and I read a report just a little bit ago saying that Josh McDaniels was even calling other coordinators to come to Indianapolis and was offering them jobs nonetheless. So if it's not DiFilippo, I mean, you're frantic at this point. I mean, I don't even think they know who they're going for.
Who would you go with, Mark? For me,
I mean, I'm going along the same line of thinking. I'm going the step above John DiFilippo and saying Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. And it's interesting, but it's dangerous too, because you don't know who's really responsible for this offensive success. Is it Doug Peterson, DiFilippo, Reich? It could be any of these three guys. And it could just simply be the fact that you got great receivers and a really good offensive line and a good run game. You know, there's so much that could be responsible for this great offense, but you don't have a choice. You need somebody. You know, you need to get somebody in there now. And with that being said, too, I think it's very interesting and a very bold move from Josh McDaniels. I never got into this part, so I'll say it now. Incredibly unprofessional, yes. At the same time, I mean, he saw Bill Belichick do it. Now, Bill Belichick, I'll give a little bit more leniency towards with the Jets, because the Jets kind of screwed him over a little bit.
Yeah, but the difference there is Bill Belichick was actually named the head coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Resigned. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But they kind of screwed him over a little bit, so I give him a little bit more. The Colts didn't do anything to Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels gave them a big middle finger and said, "Sorry guys, see you later." He's already known for being a hothead. He's already known.
You're talking about Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. He's already known for being a hothead. He's already known for not being able to handle and manage very well. And I sit there, if I'm any team in the NFL, and I'm saying, all right, well, for the reference, check him off the list. He is never getting a job here.
I agree.
Because he showed you that he is not somebody you can trust. He showed you that he will put himself before others. And I'm sure, you know, the family comes into it too. But
well, him and his family above anything else.
Which is fine, and I think there's some loyalty to there, and that's nice. But you made a promise to the Colts. You made a promise to Jim Irsay, to Ballard. You made promises to us, and now you're going to break those. I think it's a dangerous move, because if things do not work out in New England for him, whether this promise doesn't really start to come to fruition, or he has a couple of years, Brady retired, though, right before, and it's not good, and he gets fired. If I'm any other team, I have zero interest in this guy for anything.
And that's the reason why I believe, and why I said after the tweet that Shane said saying the same thing, that he had to have gotten the promise from Kraft. Because then why would he do that and
why
risk
would
doing
somebody who doesn't give a damn about a promise give a damn about someone else's promise to him? He's saying, I'm willing to break my own promises, but I believe that Robert Kraft, when he promises to me, he means good on his word. That makes no sense to me. You know,
the Patriot way.
If I'm going to sit there
# not done, right?
Yeah, right. And reference one of my my favorite sports movie is Moneyball.
Okay.
With the room of all the old scouts, and they say, "How do you know that he's got bad eyes? He's got an ugly girlfriend." That's not the line, but I'm paraphrasing here. If he's got an ugly girlfriend, he's got bad eyes. You don't want that pitcher.
Yeah.
To me, that's saying this guy is not good at decision making. If he is saying,
why would I have a guy who can't make decisions be my head coach?
Exactly. He can't make decisions. You can't trust him. He's a guy who says his logic is not lining up correctly if he's saying, I'm a promise breaker, but I believe other people's promises.
Now, shifting back to the Colts. You were talking about Frank Wright.
Yep.
Christian, you said DeFilippo. I got two names in my head. The first one is kind of like oh shit, we need somebody, but it's only because and this one I don't think is going to happen because there's a little history here, but if they can't find anybody, let's say nobody wants this job, I would not be surprised if they said, let's go back to Jim Caldwell. Let's bring he's a veteran head coach. I wouldn't do it because you fired him for a reason. Here's the guy I would look at, and this is interesting because you would kind of you'd be hoping that he would Josh McDaniels the team he just moved to, and that's Matt LaFleur. And the reason why I'm looking at him is from the Colts side of it before I get into the muddy part of it. If you're looking for a candidate, this guy can work with Andrew Luck. He's worked with Matt Ryan, went to a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. Yes, that was as the quarterback coach, and Kyle Shanahan was there. But then he goes to the Rams, works with Sean McVay, who's a rookie head coach, gets to learn from him. I would think learns from him being the offensive coordinator with the Rams. And right now, he's made the lateral move of offensive coordinator of the Titans. And everyone's like, oh, he's going to work fine with Marcus Mariota. But my question being is, one, why would you, Mark, we've talked about this before with quarterback jobs. Why would you want to make a lateral move? Why would you want to do that? Making the lateral move. The job that I'm in right now in my day job, most of the people that leave that day job are not making lateral moves. They're getting a job that's higher pay. They're getting a job at that next level somewhere else. They're not moving somewhere but staying at that lateral position.
Yeah.
Why not go for a guy that, he might right now be the Titans offensive coordinator, but what if we can kind of get him away from that and he can be our head coach, because that would be a pay increase and he'd be working with Andrew Luck, who, no offense to Marcus Mariota, but Andrew Luck's up here and Marcus Mariota's down here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I think that Jim Bob Cooter, maybe that's worth a call. To me, and I'm sorry that I didn't have the chance to look it up necessarily, but it really comes down to who else did they interview. I know Steve Wilkes was part of the conversation, but I don't think they even interviewed him. So you missed out on that. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I think
they interviewed Nagy. He's gone.
That's what I was gonna say. I think anybody they interviewed already got hired. So you know what I say? I say screw it. If I'm Ballard, I'm going to make a phone call, and it's going to be an important phone call, and I'm going to John Gruden this. I'm going to be willing to give you whatever the hell you want. I'm going to call Nick Saban right now and say, I do not care what it is. I am getting you here. You will be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. You tell me what it's going to take, and I'm writing the check.
According to Pro Football Talk, they tweeted out at 6:53 this evening, source, Colts had feeling this could happen. They have 3 candidates already to interview in the next day or two, 24 to 48 hours. So they already have 3 guys that they could go to. However, like you said, most of the guys have already been hired.
And I think that's it's kind of sad if you're sitting there going, well, we thought that the guy we wanted to be our head coach might ditch us, might leave us at the altar.
That's not good.
I mean, why the fuck did you hire him? Then, if you really thought that there's a chance he might completely screw you over, why did you even hire him?
And I'm looking right now just to see who those candidates might be. And according to, this is Horses Ho Heroes. It's the fan-sided Colts site. The 2 names that they have, The first one they're saying is Dave Tube. I hope I'm saying that right. Should be one of those interviews. He's the special teams coordinator for the Chiefs. The other one is Chris Richards, who is former cornerback. He's the defensive backs coach with the Dallas Cowboys. So those are two of the people that they could be interviewing. But if you're a Colts fan, and Christian, I'll ask you this, are you excited about either of those names, either Chris Richards or Dave Tube?
I mean, personally, I'm not, because I at this point, I feel like we had a direction, we thought what we were going to do was solid, and then the rug got pulled out from under us. So I think that, yeah, they had head coaches lined up and they had names in mind, but it's still a plan B. It's still a backup plan. So I'm not happy with it if I'm a Colts fan, and I would be looking directly, trying to find answers other than the New England answers, like what is wrong with our franchise? Like, is it Jim Irsay? Is it Andrew Luck? Why did this all happen? What fell through?
I got one more. This is what we'll end it on. And I'm going to throw this coach out there. Christian, you'll go first. Mark, you'll go after. Give me what you would think about this hire if it happened, and two, a possibility of it happening. Let's reunite David Shaw with Andrew Luck. What do you think, Christian?
I think David Shaw, he would be someone good to bring back. He obviously knows Andrew Luck. He had success with him. Possibility of it happening, I don't see it happening. I'd probably give it about a 3 to 5, maybe. What
about you, Mark?
I say no thanks. If I want anybody from Andrew Luck's past, give me Harbaugh, is my thought.
Oh, that's a name I didn't think about.
It's not going to happen either. It's the same in line with Nick Saban. Just call him and say, what do I need to do?
But I wouldn't...
Let's call Tony Dungy.
Tony... Football night in America. He might not want to do it anymore. Here's the thing with Jim Harbaugh, which I would only say don't count it out completely, is only because of everything that's going on at Michigan right now. Can't beat Ohio State. He has the same record, I believe, as either Rich Rod or Brady Hoke, and he doesn't have wins over Ohio State. So he could be looking, going, I love this place, but I could be out of a job.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. I think all I need is a quarterback. I think what I would love to see from Indy right now is to pull the spurned ex-girlfriend move and date your best friend or whatever, and go make. I know that it's basically already confirmed that he's going to stay in New England, but go hard after Joe Judge, the special teams coordinator for the Patriots.
Which some would say, why do that with all the special teams mistakes the Patriots had in the Super Bowl?
Some would say, why hire Patricia after all the terrible defense in the Super Bowl?
Well, why hire Matt Nagy after that?
Yeah, same thing.
True. You guys do make a good point, but this is where I'm going to turn on to you guys. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section about the Josh McDaniels decision, what you think Patriot-wise, Colt-wise, and also if you ever want to be like, first we got to, I should have done this earlier, we got to thank Christian for joining us. It's always a blast having you on the podcast. And if you guys want to be like Christian, go check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast, but let us know also what you think down below in the comment section.